May 18th, 1860, Abraham Lincoln wins the Republican presidential nomination and later becomes President of the United States. Republicans still celebrate this, much as Pabst still brags about winning a blue ribbon once in 1893.
Welcome to The Revisionists. I'm Brian Flynn.
I'm Zach Powers.
And I'm so excited to have our guest on this afternoon. Actor, comedian, making his revisionist debut. Please welcome Danny Ramos, everyone.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Zach, thank you also joining us for the earliest recording we've ever done.
Possibly, yeah. I didn't look through my journals, my time logs.
Yeah, you didn't fucking consult the scrolls?
Yeah. For our, see if we had a nice brunch recording at some point in the past, or like...
Ooh, that would be nice.
Due to religious observances, we had to do it before, like, the sun began to set.
Yeah, of course. Like
Brian and I can't be in the same room once the sun is set due to our religion, which is not liking each other very much.
Otherwise known as Irish Catholicism.
Yeah.
We like each other fine, listeners.
I don't know. I'm sensing some tension here.
Let's just say I moved away for a reason.
And that reason, you'll find out in the bonus episodes. I couldn't think of a good thing. It's the middle of the fucking afternoon. This is why we don't do them in the fucking afternoon.
Subscribe to Patreon to figure out why I moved away. It's boring? I'm sorry. It's not like the fucking White Walkers or whatever Game of Thrones shit is popular right now.
Or whatever. Do you not watch Game of Thrones?
I do. I do watch Game of Thrones.
Okay, well, I was about to walk out.
It's not like some Detective Pikachu shit that's like blowing up right now.
You know what? To figure out why I moved to Chicago, tune into Detective Pikachu. That's the central mystery of the movie.
And of course, listen to our new Detective Pikachu podcast called Pikachu Detectives. I could have done better with that, but we don't need to workshop that right now. If you're new to the show, what we do each episode is we take a topic from history. One person presents the official, the man-sanctioned version of events, and another person comes up with a freaky-deaky, off-the-wall alternate history.
Yep.
And the winner gets to become the truth. If you tuned in last time, our episode on Mary Meacham, thank you to Priscilla Spengler for that. The listener vote is in, and I can tell you that the alternate history that I wrote that I don't remember writing won.
You remember no details about it?
I remember she became like a vengeance ghost at the end of it, who was sort of a spirit throughout American history and African American history.
I feel like a couple of our alternates for this segment have ended with, like, the person becoming the spirit of something relating to, like, aspiration or vengeance of, like, downtrodden people, and specifically because of the nature of this segment, African American people. And now I'm hoping that's not, like, some racist trope I don't know about.
Oh, God. It probably is somewhere. Yeah. Because the internet is a horrible place.
Yeah.
Or
the world in general of fiction and...
Yeah, true. Let's just go on the record right now. We weren't aware of that trope at the time of that writing.
Bagger Vance existed before the internet was at least popular, so...
That's your go-to for it. Bagger Vance. I've never
magical
seen it.
Negro stereotype? Yeah, I think Bagger Vance kind of typifies it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
There's a couple Stephen King characters that really exemplify it in there, too.
Oh, God, yeah. old Stevie K. He's great on Twitter, problematic in the sheets.
Well, particularly in the 80s when A, times were different, and B, he was doing so much cocaine all the time.
The most coke, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he said he doesn't even remember writing half of the books he wrote.
No, he says he doesn't remember Cujo.
Cujo, yeah.
Watch Maximum Overdrive, which he directed and wrote, just to watch a cocaine binge on film in which no cocaine is featured. It could have only been worse if then Carrie Fisher had starred.
I mean, I would love to have the ability to not remember writing Sleepwalkers. That would be like sort of the greatest gift cocaine could give you.
Well, the culture at large doesn't remember Sleepwalkers, so...
It's true. It exists in niche pockets of my heart. But today we're talking about Powhatan Beaty. Beaty. I did not look up how to pronounce that last name. Zach, you are doing the true story, and Danny, you're doing the alternate.
Yes, I am.
All right, so...
Hey there, this is Brian, reminding you that The Revisionist is supported by listeners just like you. You can make a pledge and get rewards like shirts and even the right to vote over at patreon.com/therevisionists.
Okay, Powhatan Beaty, or Beaty, I don't know if he follows the Ned pronunciation or the Warren. Do they do it the same? I think they might.
Ned... Yeah, no, they both do Beatty.
Okay. But regardless, Beaty or Beaty, I'm going to go with whichever one I naturally say going forward.
Dealer's choice.
Yeah. Beaty equals Beaty going forward. Was born October 8th, 1837 in Virginia. As with almost every figure that we have covered in this section, he was born into slavery. At the age of 12... he moved to Cincinnati. That was 1849. He got his education there. And unlike a lot of the people we've covered, the means in which he received his freedom is super unclear.
Right.
So he was freed sometime before April 19th, 1861, but it could have been as early as 1849 when he moved to Ohio, or even a little before that.
So that's like a 12-year window, basically.
Yeah, 12 or 13 year gap where, like, any time in that period he could have been freed. Possibly the only reason he moved to Ohio is he was freed. Maybe the only reason he received his education is. Or maybe he happened to be moved to Ohio as a slave and there gained his freedom in some capacity. Mm-hmm. And maybe even was educated as a slave. It is unclear. Records are bad for black people in this time period.
As we have discussed. Also, this is a time period when people willingly moved to Ohio, which is, I think, different from today.
So, while he was getting his education in school, he became interested in acting and made his premiere on stage in school. So in that regard, he's like me. He's different from me in every other regard.
I knew you were going to do it as the words were like just about to leave your mouth.
Yeah, but unlike me, he was later successful.
Hey man, this is touching real deep for me as well.
Yeah, believe me. I was a theater minor. I am a theater minor, Jesus.
So after he finished his education, he apprenticed as a cabinet maker while he continued to study acting. He actually even continued to study acting once he was in the field during the Civil War. There was someone serving who was a retired actor who gave him lessons occasionally while he was in the army.
I'm just picturing it like a little bit like Barry, but like, well, they're also trying to but with muskets, basically. Which is not the Civil War.
Theoretically, Powhatan was not, like, kind of a horrible person, and also...
Yeah, no, of course.
But actually, now that I look on it, the person who taught him acting was Henry Winkler, so in that regard...
He's a national treasure.
And he was served on the North, the Union side of the Civil War, who knew?
There is nothing not to like about Henry Winkler. Fought for the Union, just a nice all-around guy from all reports.
Mm-hmm. And also a great ice cream that he created.
Wait, what?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I forgot what a joke was for a second.
I mean, everybody knows Henry Winkler as the Fonz would constantly say, "Hey," but they don't know that it was cut down from his original catchphrase, "Hey, abolish slavery."
Oh, Jesus.
The war breaks out in 1860, spoiler, and so there's Confederate victories going on down in Kentucky in 1861, And between Kentucky and Cincinnati, there are no organized Union troops. So worries of a Confederate attack on Cincinnati begin to flare up. And so it's decided that they need to build fortifications around Cincinnati. And initially, black people are forced to serve in the effort to create fortifications at bayonet point, it says. But an officer named William Dixon is quickly appointed commanding officer of the black troops there, and the treatment improves dramatically. They're no longer forced. He promises to treat them fairly, and he even lets them go home to prep for service. And he lets 400 black, at this point, volunteers go home, and when they return, there are 700.
Okay.
Yeah, so apparently Dixon was all right, and obviously I think there was some initiative not to let the Confederacy invade Cincinnati as well.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that's part of it, but also the idea of just like, hey, this is voluntary. Like,
yeah. And he seemed, by the accounts that I saw, like a genuinely fair guy, so that's good. They were unarmed, but all they were doing was building fortifications at this point, so that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. They worked for about 2.5 weeks before disbanding because the threats of attacks began to recede. Like, it seemed unlikely that the Confederacy was heading towards Ohio or Cincinnati. And for the next 2 years, Ohio did not have any black units helping with the war effort whatsoever. But by 1963, Massachusetts and a few other states were recruiting black troops.
1863?
1863. Did I say 19?
Yeah.
Well, they were doing it by then, too.
Yeah, no, I guess that's fair. Just for a totally different war.
Sometime between 1861 and 1963, Massachusetts did recruit black troops. I promise this is true. But 1863 was also a year where they did that. So Beaty decides he's going to join up. 2 days in, he's promoted to sergeant, probably because he's well-educated and that sort of thing. Literate, which many black people at the time were not. And ultimately, the Massachusetts is straight up too full. Like, they have too much militia to be able to take on anymore. So the governor of Ohio decides to form an African-American regiment. He asks for permission. He's granted. And Beaty and his 47 men that served under him are the first to join the Ohio Black Regiment there on June 17th, 1863. And they're bestowed the 5th United States Colored Troop.
Mm.
Yeah.
Massachusetts being like the 54th, being like the most famous, like...
Possibly. I think that sounds right, but I don't have that written out in front of me, so I cannot do your own research, listener, or Brian right now. So they're sent to Virginia in September of 63, and they attack Confederate defenses at New Market Heights with a few other battalions, and they fail. Casualties are really high. Beatty survives and actually returns to the battlefield, goes in 600 yards to retrieve the fallen color bearer's flag and bring it back to the Union side of the fight. So he survives 600 yards of gunfire to retrieve this flag.
Jesus.
Which I wouldn't have done. Another difference.
Another dissimilarity.
Yeah, we were starting out very, 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 very remotely similar.
Yeah, and then it got a little more goofus and gallant as time went on.
Of Beatty's company, which was Company G, there were 91 people in that company. 8 officers, 83 enlisted. After the attack, only 16 enlisted men and 0 officers survived. So Beatty is given command because all the officers are dead. So, hey, he's the sergeant. He's gonna pop up to leadership role. And he leads a second successful attack on the defense at New Market Heights and loses only 3 more Company G men in the process. So at the end of the day, over half of the full black regiment is either killed, wounded, or captured, but they are successful in defeating the the Confederate defenses in Newmarket Heights, Virginia, for which Beaty receives an on-the-field commendation, and 2 years later in 65 receives the Medal of Honor. He's described in this commendation as having taken command and gallantly led his men. So he continued.
That still would have been from Lincoln. Johnson would not have taken over by that point. I can't picture Johnson have did.
No, the commendation would have come from an officer on the field.
But the Medal of Honor, I mean.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, yes, I think that would have, 65, I don't have the exact date, so it could have been Johnson. Lincoln died in 65.
Right.
So, 2/3 chance it was Johnson, because Lincoln died in April.
Sorry, for some reason, I'm asking you, like, all the questions that are probably not in your research.
Yeah, I didn't take down the exact date he received the Medal of Honor, unfortunately.
I'm not trying to grill you.
But during the course of the war, he continues to excel. There's a colonel named Giles Shirtliff.
Okay, sure.
Who twice recommends him to become a commissioned officer. And those requests are ignored, but obviously this colonel thought this guy was worthy of, like, full recognition of the United States military in terms of his prowess on the field. So at the end of the war, he has survived a total of 13 battles and skirmishes. So after the war ends, he decides to raise his family back in Cincinnati. He's got a son, A. Lee Beaty, who becomes an Ohio state legislator and the U.S. District Attorney for Southern Ohio, which is pretty good for a black person in the 1800s.
Yep, yeah.
I'm sure those are probably both, like, firsts. Meanwhile, Beaty does a lot of charitable work. He works as a voice for the black community in Cincinnati, and he continues to pursue acting. He writes and directs and stars in a play called... Yeah, but not in the Tommy Wiseau way. In, like...
Yeah, he made the stage play version of The Room, or like Fateful Findings.
Yeah. So the play is called Del Mar, or Scenes from the Southland. It premieres in 1881. It's about black citizens' transition from slavery to freedom in the South after the war. And it ran privately to high praise. Beaty never publicly promoted it and never ran it in a public theater house. So, but the reviews were apparently very positive. Beaty also works in this time as an assistant engineer in the Cincinnati Waterworks up through 1884 at least. And that's when a very prominent black actress of the time, Henrietta Vinton Davis, comes through Cincinnati. And the two of them work together. They organize a drama festival for Cincinnati. Beaty, in that festival, plays the role of Spartacus in The Gladiator, and Macbeth in Macbeth, with Davis as Lady Macbeth. Mm. And the whole festival is hugely praised. Beaty and Davis in particular are praised as like masterful performances, like full of energy and power, things like that. So it's successful enough that this festival moves on to DC, the two of them, Davis and Beaty, together, and they add some more, more pieces. He plays Macbeth, he plays Henry VI, all opposite Davis. He also plays Ingomar in a play called Ingomar the Barbarian.
Was that an original? Is that a
I don't know if there's a relationship to Conan the Barbarian, perhaps.
I would be very surprised.
Just the black version.
Yeah. But I have no idea. Retrospectively, I wish I had done more research into Ingomar the Barbarian and perhaps printed out a scene for us to dramatically read together.
On it.
They didn't want him to be Conan, so they're like, no, you are Ingomar. Like, you're a Medal of Honor, but please, hold on.
Yeah, it's like, there's only one Conan the Barbarian, and it's fucking Conan O'Brien.
Ingomar.
Well, I'm looking for that.
Oh, Ingomar, I think. But during this festival in Washington, D.C., he actually performed for Frederick Douglass at Ford's Opera House on May 7th, 1884. So, which is kind of considered the highlight of his entire career. I I don't believe that's the same as Ford's Theater, where Lincoln was shot. I think that they are, in fact, two separate locations. Yeah, so they were founded by the same person. They were both founded by a man named John T. Ford, but Ford's Opera House and Ford's Theater are two separate ones. So he actually did not perform in the place where Lincoln was shot. It was a separate location.
Also, first thing that comes up when I Google Ingomar the Barbarian is the movie version that D.W. Griffith, of all people, made.
Well, it sounds... Surely it isn't racist in that case.
Yeah, right? Jesus. That'll be a bonus episode when we do a dramatic reading of all 5 fucking acts of Ingomar the Barbarian.
Okay. So,
Sounds powerful.
Regardless, it tours beyond that. Initially, when they perform at Ford's Opera House, right? There's heckling from, you guessed it, white people. But according to accounts of the performance, ultimately the power of the show and the performances eventually wins over everyone and eases everyone into silence pretty early in the show. Like, he, overcomes the heckling by being good at what he does. Another key difference between him and me. The performance tours, including to Philadelphia, again with Davis playing opposite him in almost every role. After the tour is over, he returns to Cincinnati. He forms the Cincinnati Literary and Dramatic Club in 1888 and serves as the drama director, and eventually dies at the age of 79 on December 6th, 1916, in his beloved Cincinnati, Ohio, and that...
Sin City.
Yeah, Sin City. The original Sin City before the new Sin City popped up. And that is the story of Powhatan Beaty. The true account, at least.
Sorry, how are you pronouncing his first name? Because that seems right to me, because you say it with such confidence.
Powhatan Beaty. I don't know if that's right.
Okay. Listeners, write in if you have a clue how to pronounce it. Our phone lines are open. But, Zach, thank you.
Sure.
Hello, everybody. I'm JD Lopez, the host of Left Hand Right Brain. It's a free-flowing, wide-ranging conversation that I have with artists doing interesting and creative things here in Denver and beyond. We talk about their personal stories, break down their creative process, and what motivates them. Spoiler alert, it's mostly spite. We talk about all these things and more while kicking back, cracking wise, and always having a good time. You can find old episodes and everything you need to know at lefthandrightbrainpod.com.
Jenny, whenever you're ready.
Yes. So Powhatan Beaty. It's actually, I did a lot of research about this. Like you said earlier, written by the man, and as we know, the man, the government, they lie. So I went deep into research, and I found a lot of things that weren't shared, but obviously, Powhatan Beaty.
Quick update. According to this video on YouTube that says that's how to pronounce the name of the tribe, it's Powhatan.
Powhatan, yes.
Cool.
And as we, I'm sure we know, but Powhatan means people of Virginia, which actually means great actor. That's what he told people. And his last name is actually Beauty. It goes by Beauty because black and brown is beautiful, and we all know that. But for consistency, we'll go with Beaty. What do we say?
Beaty, I think.
Beaty? Okay, yeah.
Like Warren Beatty, who is a beauty, or was a beauty. Haven't seen him lately.
Yeah, that's how he would introduce himself, actually. He would go, Powhatan Beauty. And then people would laugh. He's like, no, I'm just kidding. I'm Beaty.
I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah.
I'm charming as hell.
Yeah. I'm an actor. I'm annoying.
Yeah, he had to give himself a stage name for his intro class at one point.
So, yeah, like we were talking about, African-American soldier, an actor that later became an actor. But we weren't really sure on how he was freed as a slave. I found that, actually. The reason, since he's an actor, once an actor, always an actor. And the reason why he was freed was because, like most theater kids do, he sang too many musicals. And they just said, get out. We don't want you here anymore. Please leave. And he said, yo, that's dope. I would love to leave.
Oh, shit. We shouldn't have threatened him with that. Yeah. That's really counterintuitive on our part.
He's like, I can't believe that worked. So he
it was worth memorizing all of Cats.
yeah, a play that doesn't exist yet. Yeah, he really annoyed everyone with Hamilton. They're like, oh, we don't.
Hamilton was much more close to in time. Fuck words.
But yeah, but cats are great too. The play and the creature itself.
Cats are timeless.
Cats are timeless, as history would tell us.
Look out for the Cats movie coming out, I think, next year? Or is that this year? I don't know. At some point.
Oh, there is one coming out.
Yeah, they're doing a fucking Cats, the musical, the movie.
Is it CGI or...
I think it's like... So here's what the deal is. It's live action, and like various pretty famous people are playing certain parts. I know Idris Elba's in it.
Oh,
but
perfect.
They're going to be at a perspective where they look like they are cat-sized.
So it's like fucking like the Hobbits, like forced
but smaller because cats are smaller.
Yeah, no,
I'm
shit.
not shitting you. That is what they are doing.
Oh, that is going to be a
I can't wait for the trailer to come out and everyone
my
just
God.
shit on it like when Sonic or...
Oh my... If they have like that Sonic just like photoshopped into one...
That would be amazing.
Weirdly, even though it is a musical, they're still going to use Gangster's Paradise for the trailer song.
Speaking of Sonic, though, real quick.
Yeah, we need to touch on the subject.
I've seen so many Photoshop pictures of the new movie Sonic where people have just like Photoshopped breasts onto Sonic. And it's the most upsetting thing I have seen on the internet in a very long time.
I can't.
It's
I hate.
awful.
I hate that
Sonic
I've also
was so
seen this.
upsetting already, and then they gave Sonic like a set of breasts.
Yeah,
like, why
they
did
like
you do this?
made Sonic thick and stuff. I hate that I've also seen that.
I mean, if you're disturbed by sensitive imagery related to Sonic, just never Google Sonic because
never go to
every
DeviantArt.
image search, that DeviantArt subform is woo. That one's a trip.
Yeah, that is something else.
I think there is a thing you can do where if you type in Sonic and your birthday and like DeviantArt, there's like images that people have drawn, and it's some are really cool, and then some are also like, yo, why does the Sonic have 3 breasts?
Why is Sonic the lady from Total Recall?
Right. Why is Sonic having a baby with Shrek? That's
yeah, you're like, and why is it related to
Shrek.
my birthday? I don't like this.
Oh.
Well,
Sorry,
Brian, while you're
I'm doing the thing while you're talking.
No, please do. I am excited to see oh god, I'm already seeing images on your phone, and I don't. You know what? We need to talk about your internet. You need to fix this.
Well, we record in my office, which is the router is in the main room.
And I do love that you have an office in Denver when rent is this high.
Yeah, well, me and my wife. So and like our apartment's not that expensive yet. They're gonna up
It's
it.
coming. It's coming. They're doing landscaping outside. It's coming.
Yeah, they just changed owners. So anyway,
Yeah.
this is not. Oh wait, damn it, it's loading. Oh, it's Nurse Sonic. There we go.
Is
We
your
got Nurse Sonic on lined paper, done in what looks like no, I was going to say colored pencil, but it's definitely Crayola brand marker, with some Bic pen.
Wow, she's cute.
Yeah,
Or yeah, whoever's wearing. I mean, non-binary person wearing a nurse outfit as Sonic.
kind of chunky heels for a nurse outfit. Like that's
Yeah.
You're supposed to wear non-slip shoes.
Well, those have a lot. Those are padding, really.
Yeah, right. Oh, it's wearing garters. Okay.
The other thing you're going to want to do, guys, if you're into looking up Sonic art, is write your name, the Hedgehog, into Google image search. And,
Yes,
I've
that's
done that.
yes, that's terrifying.
This is we don't need to track me googling all the horrible Sonic things.
That's the last
That's
thing.
for our other podcast.
Just a quick aside, Zack the Hedgehog is age 18. He's calm, strategic, loyal, born leader, and brave. So, again, not very similar to me. And his alignment is good, so there you go.
Oh shit! It gives you all the fucking D&D shit, and also 18. So I guess cool.
Yeah.
You can vote.
Oh, I thought you were going to say there's grass on the field, but sure, vote.
Anyway, Sorry.
Yes. So anyway, yeah, Powhatan Beaty. Difficult name to pronounce. Also historically used as a theater acting warm-up. Like red leather, yellow leather, unique New York, unique New York, and Powhatan Beaty, to really get the vocalization going and your mouth stretched, which was actually famously used before every episode of the Drew Carey Show, which, as we all know, is a show based in Ohio. So that's
Is there another? I don't know.
I do remember walking around my house as a child screaming Cleveland Rocks, Cleveland Rocks.
I remember that being, because they changed the, don't know why I remember so much about the Drew Carey Show, but they changed the theme song like 3 fucking times. I remember when they got to like Cleveland Rocks, I was just like, I was old enough to be like, does it though?
I believed it. I was a very big Whose Line Is It Anyway fan and Drew Carey Show fan. That's the first time I've said that out loud, so that's a great realization.
If it helps, Third Rock from the Sun, Clarissa Explains It All, and Family Ties were all set in Ohio.
Oh, we might. Okay,
Your internet is much better than mine in this situation.
Those were all great shows. There might be. I think the next few shows to come out need to be based out in Ohio.
Oh yeah,
I also
yeah.
I also skipped a few,
shows. Third Rock from the Sun.
That is a great show. I don't care what people say.
Clarissa Explains It All is pretty good.
Yeah.
Of course, WKRP in Cincinnati, which I think starred. Didn't that star Phil Hartman or something?
I think so.
There you go.
And so we can really attribute all that success to Powhatan Beaty.
Yeah.
Or Beauty, as he would say to new people. He, like Zach was saying, he was a cabinet maker, but also we need to realize that he was a great speaker. And so Carpenter, great speaker. His stage name was the Messiah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that's really how people were jealous of his success as an actor.
Sure.
And his success as a soldier. So people began to do smear campaigns. They were saying, is he having an affair with Davis? And they're like, because they really developed a Star is Born type relationship, and everyone was like, oh shit, are they fucking? And they're like, no, they're really just really good friends. Lincoln died in 1965 from an actor, John Wilkes Booth, and they really tried to
cause of death,
also from a bullet.
Yeah.
Cause of death was actor, in fact, listed on the.
He acted in front of him, and Lincoln was like, "Oh shit," and had a stroke. But no one talks about that.
It'd be way different if John Wilkes Booth walked into the fucking balcony and started playing Zip Zap Zop.
He zip zap zopped him right off the balcony ledge. They really try to emphasize that John Wilkes Booth was an actor because they're like, actors are evil, which is true. Mm-hmm. But in fact, John Wilkes Booth wasn't even an actor. He worked at the local Jiffy Lube.
So like lubing up horses.
Yeah.
Jiffy was the name of the horse.
Yeah. So people were jealous of him. He got his Medal of Honor in 1965 as well. He was reluctant to join the military. He wasn't very athletic, as most actors, theater kids are. He was famously known for holding his gun backwards, and holding it upside down. Mm-hmm. To a certain extent where he accidentally shot one of the officers. That's why he was able to take over, because he accidentally shot. He was behind all the officers and shot them on accident.
Okay.
And he felt so guilty. And because of his acting abilities, he's like, I'm just going to act like I didn't do this. And I will act like...
fucking yes and.
yeah, exactly. So they're like, are you the new officer now? And he was like, yes, and I am pretty good at it too. and everyone agreed because of his great acting and improv skills. He was he inspired a lot of different shows at the time. He did Shakespeare in Washington D.C. with and he was famously known for putting in his own script, his own pieces inside of it.
Okay.
So yeah, and he wanted to play all the characters, like most actors, and
Sure.
he wanted to be the star.
Mm-hmm.
He really, and he would wear his Medal of Honor on stage, just to remind everyone.
Yeah, of course.
he really was great at acting more than being a soldier. He really was. People praise him for being such a great soldier, but in fact, he that's why he survived. He just let everyone go ahead, and he stayed in the back.
I mean, that is a great strategy for surviving a war,
Yeah.
honestly. Just kind of hang out near the back.
Yeah.
He was later, he ended up dying in Cincinnati, where kind of in Ohio. But they
Hot in Cleveland.
Hot in Cleveland.
Yeah, that was like a show on Oxygen. Sorry, it was just another show set in Ohio.
I mean,
Hot
you
in
could just
Cleveland.
you could just Google shows set in Ohio. I skipped a ton because there was 20 listed.
Oh, okay. Well, still, Hot in Cleveland, starring Betty White.
Are we not gonna acknowledge the similarities here? Betty, his last name Betty.
Mm-hmm.
Houghton, Powhatan.
Whoa!
There's something going on here. I think
Is Hot in Cleveland based on the life of...
I've never
Blonde
seen
Beaty?
it. It might be.
this is just another example of the man trying to erase black
kind
history.
of like Cougar Town is about the life story of John Cougar Mellencamp.
Why did Betty White not get heat for portraying Powhatan Beaty? This is some egregious whitewashing.
Yeah, this all
That
happened
is, like,
before
the
Twitter.
most-
Yeah, this all happened before Twitter, so people really couldn't run with it.
Is it like grandparent rules, where when your grandparents do something kind of racist, you're like, they're too close to death to change this?
Yeah. I'm not gonna yell at her because her lasagna's good. I don't want her to
Seems like
hate
a
me. I need the
euphemism
rest.
I don't want to delve into.
Yeah. They built a statue of him, and it was later bought by Drew Carey, because for inspiring the show and for being such a great inspiration for every pre-show.
Did he also invent what Buzz Beer was at it? I watched I should pretend I don't know because I know the Drew Carey show really well.
Buzz Beer was that a beer on the show?
Yeah, that was like the fucking microbrew Drew Carey did in his backyard. That was like coffee and beer.
I completely forgot about that. I only remember the episode really where he broke his dick when he was gonna have sex and he tripped and he fell on it.
I do not remember that one.
Maybe I'm making it up, but but I do.
Seems like a very strange episode to have on network TV in the 90s.
Hey, as a child, I was like, "Hey, this is revolutionary." This is nice.
These are the stories that speak to me as a youth.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna make sure I never do that.
Yeah. Forget about Seinfeld's The Contest, the episode where Drew Carey broke his dick. Truly the high point of 90s television.
I mean, without that, would we have It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia now?
Yeah, I've seen interviews with Glenn Howerton. He's like, truly the inspiration for this show.
Anyway,
and it all falls back to Powhatan Beaty. Really,
course.
this is he really sparked this continuous line of successful acting and TV shows. He how many kids did he have? Did it say how many kids he had in your research?
I only saw a reference to the one, Ailey Beaty.
Yes. In fact, actually, he had upwards to 16 kids.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, because and in his travels, he was donating sperm all throughout the country.
Okay.
Yeah. They weren't. I mean, he did it in a modest way because he was a good man. But he needed to make money because most actors are poor.
Right, of course.
Like myself. But really, that's I mean, that's all we got here for Powhatan Beaty for the alternate history. I mean, everything else that I would say, I just don't want to taint really his incredible name.
Sure. Other than suggesting he kind of hung out in the back and battles.
Yeah.
Other than that.
And held his gun upside down.
Yeah.
But, that's... Actors aren't the most well-rounded people in the athletic department.
Daddy, thank you.
Yeah.
Just for reference, he apparently had several children, but only 3 lived to adulthood. Albert Lee Beaty, who is the one I talked about, Powhatan Beaty Jr., and John Beaty.
Dang, so what was the first one?
Albert Lee Beaty, who's the DA and state legislator.
So you had Al and John, and then he was like, you know what, there's got to be a junior Powhatan.
Before we move on, listeners, just want to say you can always write us a letter, ask us a question, leave us a comment, reach out and touch us at revisionistpodcast.com. Please don't actually touch us. That robs us of our power. And on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, just search for Revisionist Podcast. And we're also a proud member of the Denver Podcast Network, along with such shows as Motherfucker in a Cape, which is a great show hosted by R. Alan Brooks, which discusses geek culture through the lens of marginalized people. It's really great. You can also check out his graphic novel, The Burning Metronome. It's an ongoing series. It's really great. Check that out. Danny, you are an actor, as we've maybe touched on. And you're the player in opens the day after this drops.
Oh, great. Yeah. So Mosque, this play about a Muslim American family that deals with prejudice in post 9/11 New York. While the mosque that was such a big part of the news for a while is being built. It's a great play written by Jahab Mahelm, a guy who lives here now. It opens Sunday, May 19th, and it runs for about 3 weeks. You can get tickets for it on www.mosquetheshow.com and support local theater, yeah.
Tight. As for me, Queen City Companion, again, the All Falls storytelling show. I co-host with friend of the show, Jen Kolick. Very, one of the best friends of the show, in that we are married. That will be June 6th, will be the next one. The first Thursday of every month, 8 p.m. at Mutiny Information Cafe. And you can also check out the podcast version. Just look for Mutiny Transmissions, where you'll find Queen City Companion, Mutiny Book Club, and other great shows in podcast form. So check that out. And it's probably too far in advance to plug that. So, that brings us to Judgment, which I am honestly torn. This is one of the more competitive ones in this section of episodes. Mainly because normally very inclined to go with the true history. But there was a lot that I enjoyed about the alternate history, but there was also the stuff about him hiding out in the back of battles.
So yeah, the truth hurts, really.
I am torn. But he accomplished so much that my vote is still going to go to the actual history. But listeners, as you hear this, voting is now open. So have your say. Tell me I'm wrong. I dare you. I don't know why that got.
He's holding a gun. I don't feel safe.
I would not feel safe if I had a gun. But Danny, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Zach, thank you as always.
Yeah, absolutely.
For everyone here at The Revisionists, I'm Brian Flynn. Remembering my own name.
I'm Zach. I'm Zach the Hedgehog. Age 18, alignment good.
I did look up my hedgehog. Brian the Hedgehog is 17 to 18 was the age. So I don't know why. I don't know why they couldn't give a precise age range
17
for my
to
hedgehog.
18.
Bit of a prankster.
Exact birth date unknown, clearly.
Have a good time.